Okay, well, hey, hi everybody. We're doing a little bit of a video here for an introduction to procedural criminal law. Hope you guys have enjoyed your courses so far, and we're getting further along into some more complex, subject matter. So what we're looking at here is U.S. criminal procedure and some basic kind of things that I'm sure that many of you have heard before somewhere, at least if you've had me in class before. The big, important thing here is that criminal procedure can be broken down into at least 5 different basic parts. One of it has to do with public places, which if we think in the context of travel, roadways, public streets, stores, shopping malls, the gas station, different places like that. So anywhere where you might find that the public, congregate, there are going to be certain crimes and certain procedures that are going to pertain to those places. There are other places like police stations, where people are brought for interrogation, and there's going to be certain procedures that come about there. Of course, there's the prosecutor's office, and then there are the courts, both the trial and the appellate courts. And of course, another thing that I think will be big in our discussion at some point, it's not mentioned necessarily by the author, is private places like your home, and what are your rights there in terms of your home? Your home, do you have the right in your home, for example, to be totally safe in your home from even government intrusion, either by wiretapping or the police knocking your door down or any of those type things? So we're going to be looking at least 5 different areas and what the certain procedures are that are going to pertain to those areas. One of the things we need to understand is that we have always the job of balancing. It's a balancing act at all times. It involves balancing values in criminal procedure. These could be safety, freedom, as a balance that I've put in some of my other video lectures, that there is a need to balance safety versus freedom. Another way of putting that is community security versus individual autonomy. Another thing is ends versus means. Let us take a graphic, poor example in our recent history. Nixon wanted to find out if his opponent had certain information about him, and he had a certain kind of an imperial or monarchical view of himself, as that he had the right to this information. So what was the means that he used? Well, he used illegal means to obtain what he thought was important information that he needed. So, should police be like Nixon? Should they be allowed to violate the law, for example, for some greater good, like safety? Should they be able to violate an innocent person's rights just in order to maintain safety? So these are the kind of things that we're going to be struggling with as we go through this class. And so ends is the search for the actual truth, and means is the issue of the rights of the people. Can we violate those rights in order to get to the facts that we need, the evidence that we need? And that's a constant question. In the 60s, for example, it was clearly answered, no, you cannot violate citizens' rights, even though it's for a good purpose to get evidence that you need to prove your case. In the more recent past, there's been a more relaxed, kind of a good faith argument. Well, he's doing this for a good reason, so the ends justify the means. So the need for evidence justifies violating people's rights. Well, I'm one of those people that doesn't believe that. I'll just put that out front. And I know there's a lot of other people like that. And it's funny because people with these views can come from both sides of the aisle. That is to say, liberals and conservatives can hold to that view. So all these things are important to consider, and so we just have to decide, how much safety can we afford in exchange for the loss of our freedom. This is especially true right now when we look at this whole terrorism situation, domestic terrorism, foreign terrorism, that people can come in. Should the police, the Homeland Security, be able to listen in on our phone conversations? This is a big deal right now. Should they be able to have access to all of our phone records? And so these are the kind of things that we'll be talking about and we'll be wrestling with in this class. So basically, historically, this goes back a long way. For a long time in this country, no one really, I think, made the clear connection between the Bill of Rights and our Constitution and the rights of the people and the right to be secure against search and seizure by the police. I think when this started to be a major issue was around 1959, 1960. It's called the Earl Warren years in the Supreme Court, also known as the Due Process Revolution. And one of the things I've asked you to do early in this course is take a look at this case, Mapp versus Ohio, because I think this kind of sets the historical beginnings of this whole process, what we call the Due Process Revolution, and so I think it's probably an appropriate place to start. Now we'll probably go back further than that at some point because there's a couple other cases like U.S. versus Weeks and some other cases like that that even precede Mapp, and they are clear back in like the 1920s. And so these are important things that we'll be looking at. Well, I want you to understand that you can always contact me if you have questions or problems, and I will be there for you. My private email is robdawalt@me.com. That's Rob, R-O-B, Dawalt, D-A-W-A-L-T, @me.com. Feel free to contact me. Sometimes we'll have the opportunity to use a whiteboard to try to explain this a little better. We'll also probably be including some PowerPoints, and we'll try to consider all these topics together as we go along. Look for these videos on a regular basis, and I'll try to explain these different parts, these different chapters, and specific items within the chapters as we go along. I hope this course is enjoyable for you. I hope it's a really good learning experience. And I always want you to understand that I'm just as far away as an email or a phone call. So feel free to contact me. My phone number's in the syllabus. I've got a couple different emails you can contact me. So you can message me through the course. Just stay in touch and let me know if you have any questions or problems. Thanks for watching.